Good morning and welcome to this week's Upper Deck. I'm Lynn, that's Sierra. And, well, if you saw the name of the show, you know where we're heading, but always lots to talk about for the rest of the team for sure. And Willie are going to break it all down. So buckle up, Buttercups. What's going on with you, Sierra?
Good morning, Lynn. Good morning to the chat. I can only speak for myself, but this has been a very frustrating week to watch the Yankees play baseball. It just feels like whenever the offense looks good, the bullpen lets us down, and vice versa. Whenever the pitching is solid through starting through bullpen, the offense lets us down. It's like we're not all firing on the same cylinder at the same time, and it's just been incredibly frustrating, especially since I don't care what anyone else says. Cleveland is a good baseball team, and I feel like Cleveland and Detroit get overlooked because they're in that central, where the White Sox play. So it's like, it's the central. It's obviously easy, but those are two very good teams who are going to be sneaky when it comes to getting close to the playoffs. And I don't know if anyone's looked at our schedule, but we are right in the middle of just completely playing the AL East. So these are games that we need to win right now, because if not, come July, August, we're going to look and it's going to bite us in the ass if we don't take these games right now.
This is money we need to be putting in the bank, 100%, Sierra. And I feel like we're already looking to apply for a loan the way things have been going lately. So that's exactly right. And we're on the same page with everything you just said, because I've always said you don't sleep on the Guardians. People might have short-term memories about facing them in other, postseason opportunities. And it was not fun, and it was not easy to beat them. So, and all these years later, that remains to be true. So before we get really rolling, let's start with Spencer's trivia question of the week. I'm going to put it on the screen in a minute, but I want to give you the context, because Spencer always gives something relatable to the series we're in now. So as the Yankees conclude their series against the visiting Blue Jays, let's go back 30 years. Why not? When the Yankees and Blue Jays concluded the last game of the 1995 season. Of course, the significance of this game was that upon winning, the Yankees earned the very first American League wild card berth. It also landed the Yankees in the playoffs for the first time since 1981, a 12-year lapse. And of course, it helped Don Mattingly reach October baseball. The game ended in Toronto on a grounder, and the infielder stepping on second base to get the final out. Which Yankee infielder was the one to get that final out? Okay, so think back to 1995, those of you that can. I know it's tempting to look at the Google. No one can stop you from doing that. But for those of us that at the birth of the dynasty were around for this, it's a really good question. Who got that last out that sent the Yankees to the first wild card game for the American League? So thank you, Spencer, as always, for the good question. And some FJ saying Randy Velarde. You're weighing in with your guess. Noted, FJ. And so let's go on to the week that we just went through.
We have to.
Yeah, we kind of have to, because it sets the stage for what we're facing today. And besides, we have to, because we said we were going to with the title of the show. Oops. But I do first want to give a shout out to Luke Weaver. And really the one that should be closing at this point. Weaver is the first pitcher in Yankees history to face 43 batters, allow only 7 base runners and 0 runs through the first 10 games of a season. So look at Luke Weaver putting his page down in history like that. So I just wanted to mention that. All right. So let's talk about the week, Sierra. Let's talk about Monday, if we can remember back that far.
Yeah, Monday I actually felt really bad for Carlos Carrasco because he didn't look terrible. He pitched 5 innings and allowed 2 runs, but unfortunately we lost 6-4. You know, the
Yeah.
Guardians, like I said, they're a good team, and for whatever reason, so it's not even just like J Ram and Stephen Kwan hitting the ball. You have this random guy, Kyle Manzardo, who is just hitting the ball out of the park left and right, or just getting on base, and it's very frustrating when, when you're facing a good team and the most random people are also good. So I don't know. It brought me back to last year in the playoffs when Big Christmas hit that home run and the whole freaking stadium lost their minds. It just was like a war flashback. But I felt really bad for Cookie because I feel like whenever he has a decent outing, we just can't pick him up and get that win for him.
Right. Absolutely. And he also looked good Friday night. I know I'm jumping ahead, but you weren't just talking about Friday night, were you? I'm sorry, I lost my no, Friday night as well. He did 2 this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. Like, let me be clear. No caffeine this morning. Buckle up. So Friday, again, like Cookie must have heard us on last Sunday's show, where we were really not so happy with him. But 5 scoreless innings Friday night, and he only gave up 3 hits and two walks. So, and he was using all his pitches in his bag. So, his velo was right where we expected it to be, but it hit 90. So Cookie was making a case for himself this past week. And then there was the next game on Tuesday. I'm bringing us back to the start of the week.
No, you know what? I screwed up. So he
Oh,
pitched. That's on
okay.
me. So he
All
pitched
right.
Friday, and then he had pitched the previous, I think, Saturday against the Rays. But either way, my point stands. Every time
Your
Cookie
point
pitches,
stands. So does mine. We're good. We might not get all the way back to Monday. That's all right. We could, let's go with our short-term memories.
we lost.
we we lost because like the guys weren't showing up for him, and that was part of the theme of the week also, with the bats, and we'll definitely get to that. And so then we had the off day on Thursday. Wednesday we got the good Rodon, so let's talk about that, because how often do we get to talk about the good Rodon? What do you got there for Rodon?
So this is 2 starts in a row that Rodon has actually showed up and hasn't made me want to lose my crap. He went 7 innings, and not only did he go 7 innings, but he looked very dominant, right? Like he had all the stuff. I believe he had 9 strikeouts, and he had only let up. The Yankees ended up winning that game, 5-1. He had 0 earned runs. It was 8 strikeouts. My bad. He only gave up 4 hits. Like that is if you could give me that version of Carlos Rodon, 3 out of 4 starts, I would never complain about him ever again. My issue still is though, because we just had 2 good starts in a row, one versus Tampa, one versus Cleveland. I don't know which version of Rodon we're getting next. So I just need this consistently from him. But I was really happy with the way that he produced in his last 2 outings.
Yeah, and it was also great that I was especially glad to see him go as long as he did. And there were little moments that the other Rodon could have showed up, but didn't. And he went 90 pitches, which across 7 innings is pretty tight. And it speaks to everything you just said. But of those 90 pitches, 61 were strikes. So maybe not so high in the strikeouts, but got a lot of strikes in the mix there. And yeah, so he's looking at a 3.5 ERA. So really, really happy to see that from Los, for sure. And then Monday and Tuesday, we don't really have to revisit. We can move on because, it just was not the series we want. It's the wins that we needed to check off the boxes for. I do want to shout out Leiter Jr. I thought he looked really good. and threw up some good numbers. And we'll have enough to say about Devin Williams in
It
a hot
was.
second.
It's just frustrating because we almost got swept by the Guardians, right? So we lose 2 out of 3, and now we're going up against the Blue Jays, who are an AL East team. So regardless of how they look, they're always a tough team. But they were just swept by Houston. So both of our teams are looking at coming out of this losing streak or slump or whatever you want to call it, and starting to put some wins back in the category and build up a win streak. So both teams are trying to do the same thing right now, and we're in the same division, and we're not like it's April. It's a very close division right now. So like we said in the beginning of the show, like these games matter. And now it's going to be even tougher thing because now we're playing a doubleheader today, right? So we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, we will. And let's take a pause before we go into the hot, what's not, who's hot, what's not, who's not. And just say hi to everyone in the chat. So great to see our gang here. So let's say hi to Jonathan, CT. Hope you're doing well, CT. And Lori's here. And Numbers Guy, what's up? We got FJ. We have CT Cards. We have Karen and Lou and Shayna. An Egyptian magician, abracadabra to you. And let's see. I know we saw somebody come in recently. Did I say Shayna? If I didn't, I'll say it twice. If I did, I'll say it twice. And we have Mike, and Mike wants to tell us that we are about to be swept by KC.
No, so Mike is a Houston fan, unfortunately, and he is saying that they are about to sweep Kansas City after sweeping the Blue Jays. And all I have to say to that is good luck with that.
Yeah, let's see if you let's see if you show up next week, Mike. And oh yeah, Yalsum is here. So Mike and Yalsum came in at about the same time. Coincidence? I think not. I'm not even going to put that up on the board at this point. And hey, Michael, good to see you come in. And so all right, let's get to it. We have a list. We have quite the list. So let's hear from you guys in the chat. Mike, sorry about that. Mike meant that. Okay. Okay, you're good, Mike. You're good.
That's rough.
Take back everything I just said. Hope to see you next week. And quite frankly, well, you know, and the Royals, you don't sleep on either. There really aren't many teams that we should be sleeping on, period. And Lori just wants to bring this up, and you know what? No, it was not. No, it was not. You know, the forecast did, you know, I kind of understand based on what the forecast was saying. And it's a calculated risk when you do that, right? Damned if you do, damned if they don't. If they didn't cancel, the skies would have opened. But it was pretty bad here, and I'm about 10 miles from the stadium. It was pretty bad in the morning, like huge deluges of rain. So I don't know how good the field would have been for playing, even though the skies were just fine by what would have been game time. All right, so let's get to who's hot. Go for it, Sierra.
I mean, Ben Rice, that kid is just hitting everything. And I have started the campaign for lead off Ben Rice every game against every pitcher. I don't care at this point. I don't want to and that is no knock to Goldschmidt, because Goldschmidt himself looks very good. But Ben Rice, he's showing us power, but he's showing us that he can just get on base, right? He knows when to take a walk. He can hit into the gaps, just every game, lead off. And then when Stanton comes back, we will find a place for Rice. Like that is my thought process. I know everyone's kind of worried, like when Stanton comes back, what happens to Rice? If Rice continues at the pace that he's at right now, he is not going anywhere. Okay, that kid will be here. They will find a place for him, whether it's behind the plate, at first base, at third base. I'm going to whisper that. They will find somewhere for him, because Ben Rice is on fire right now.
Yes, I agree with you completely. They know what they got. And this is not going to be a Peraza experiment with Rice. Mm-hmm. So he's here to stay. I completely agree that well, I heard the third base thing slide in there, Sierra. Don't think I didn't. But but the fact is that he also has the makings of a utility player. He already has two positions down, and so I wouldn't be mad at him having that type of role, and him and Cabrera sharing that role. And if that means that Rice takes third some of the time, maybe he could mirror image real well and do just great there automatically, because he's been excellent at first base. And so let me just call up a couple of hots from the gang. So FJ is saying Rice, Goldschmidt, and Judge. Everyone else is lost.
I'm with
Pretty
you,
much. Pretty much. We'll get to that in who's not. Lou is saying Freed is hot. Hot, hot, hot.
And for
Absolutely.
the sake of my fantasy baseball team, I need him to continue that today because I am currently undefeated, but I'm down 45 points. And with the game getting canceled yesterday, I had Freed starting. So I need him today to just like really turn it up.
Well, listen, he is another year older, and he's aging like fine wine. So I think that's in the bag. And as Lori says, Aaron James is the very essence of fire. I don't know if that was taken out of a Harlequin romance, but I like it. It says it all, Lori. And John the Beagle Dad is here. Good to see you. And so let's see. Well, who else did you have? And
I had Mr. Goldie because listen, all of us, myself included, when he was signed in the offseason, we're like, what the hell are we doing? This man is 38 years old. He's coming off the worst season of his career. We all, myself included, discounted all of the Gold Gloves, everything that he did previous to last year. And you know what? He's showing up this season so far, right? He's getting on base. I don't care that Nomi has one home run. The guy gets on base almost every time he's on bat, right? And that's all I could ask for. But also his glove, when you have Volpe and Jazz throwing to that man, he's doing exactly what we need our first baseman to do. But not to mention, I love showboating. I say it all the time. I love when guys showboat. I think it's a fun part of the game. But Goldie is one of those guys who's so quiet. He gets the double, and the dugout's trying to get him to engage and do a silly little dance, and he's just like taking off his pads and just going about his. He's all business, and honestly, I love that about him because I think that just fits him so well. I think he's a great leader and a great addition to this clubhouse. And I apologize for everything I said about Goldie in the offseason.
And what that reminds me of, everything you just described, Ciara, is DJ LeMahieu in personality and approach, but only in that way, because you'll never get DJ to do a dance at the plate, or he doesn't even want to do the high fives in the dugout. He just wants to put his head down and sit down on the bench. But yeah, we're gonna have to goldify Goldie a bit and get him looser. But you know what? What a good get. I was mad about the stopgap, but now I'm saying, okay, let's fill it in. Let's put ink to paper on this, because he's showing up despite everything we were worried about. And we still have a lot of ball to play, but he's looking like a steady Eddie on this team, and it's been so great to see. And just continue on, Ciara, because you hit all of mine. I could see that.
Yeah, and then I saved the best for last. Our captain, Aaron Judge. So, he's in a little bit of a power slump, if you will, but he is. I don't know if you guys realize how lucky we are to watch this man, this guy just like play every day. The fact that he's maintaining over a 400 batting average this early in the season, like that is insane. He currently has a 6-game hitting streak. His slash line is 408, 508, 1.222. Okay. So I personally think if he can get out of this, and I say power slump very lightly, like I'm kind of just joking when I say it, but he's not hitting home runs. We're seeing him do everything else. He's hitting triples. He's hitting doubles. Like he's doing it all at this point. And trust me, I love all of that. He's also stealing bases. That is a big dude to be stealing bases. I think, listen, he who shall not be named, not returning and moving Judge back to right field was the best thing that could happen for Aaron Judge, because playing center field was not sustainable for him and his big body long term. So him being in right field has allowed him, and this is my personal opinion, I think moving him to right field has allowed him to become who he's becoming this season. I do think if he gets out of this so-called power slump that he can break his own record of 62 this season. But that aside, I think you're looking at the AL MVP again and possibly a triple crown winner. So let's all the cookies for Aaron Judge.
Yeah, and not the Carrasco variety. His most favorite cookie in the world. And the thing is also, I'm not really mad that we're not seeing home run Aaron Judge right now. For a couple of reasons. First of all, yeah, he's in his prime. Yeah, like he's got so much time to go. But at the same time, I'm liking that he's not hitting for power all the time. And he's contributing on the bags, like you said. I'd like a little less of the stealing of the bases because of what you just said, Sierra. And if his toe hits a dad the wrong way, then it's going to be like the wall in Dodger Stadium. But other than that, it's contributing and contributing in the ways to get others, and especially being number two in the number two spot all the time. It's been helping with the runs coming in. So yeah, and he's got that 62. That 62 is going to prevail for who knows how long. But you're also absolutely correct that I think we are going to see HR Judge. And yeah, he will definitely be able to still tear it up. Plenty of road left to travel on that. And yeah, and Mike's agreeing with you. Best thing was to move him back to right field, 100%. Be in his corner, his natural place. And so actually FJ's bringing up one of the hot guys that wasn't on your list, Sierra. Surprise, it's Cabrera. Because yes, it's true. Is he a stellar third baseman? 100% not. I don't think anyone's ever heard me say that. But he has been so consistent at the plate, so patient at the plate. And this is, again, another example of when not being a power hitter really helps the team. So I think that he's, I'm taking your okay and I'm blowing it up, FJ. I'm running with it. I'm embellishing. I'm doing all the embellishments to it. But I'm, like I've said again and again, I'm fine with him at third. I'm happy to share with Rice when Stanton's back, if that needs to be the case. And then the question mark will probably be Peraza, which I don't like contemplating because we all, I think, are on the same page about Peraza.
I think the Yankees have already pretty much told us what they feel about Peraza. I mean, how often are we seeing him play, right? And I agree with FJ. I've given Cabrera a lot of love lately because he is silently getting on base and no one's talking about it. For me, what did it this week, though, was the bad defense. Because up until this past week, he's had a pretty solid glove. But in Tampa, he didn't look so hot. So we'll see where he lands on my list next week. But I agree that Cabrera has been, for what he needs to be at third base, 100%. I have a hot take about third base. Well, I have two hot takes about third base, actually. I'll save that for later. And as far as Dominguez goes, he is on my hot list. And I'll get into that more with the not list because I have a bone to pick with Aaron Boone.
Woohoo! Spoiler alert. We have agreement about Luke Weaver, Sierra, who really is our closer. And we'll get into that in the dot.
Yeah, that's another. I have a bone to pick with you, Mr. Aaron Boone, or whoever's making decisions in that front office, because I mean something's got to give. And but yeah, Luke Weaver, 0 ERA. Everyone said his performance last year going into this year wasn't going to be sustainable. How often does this happen? Look at him. He has 0 walks, 0 earned runs. He's only allowed 7 base runners through 11 games, and he already has 2 saves. Like, listen, Luke Weaver, I would trust with my life at this point. Now, I know that he's not going to have a 0 ERA the entire 2025 season. I know that he's going to blow a save at some point, right? Like, it's baseball. Things happen. But the fact that we can consistently count on Weaver right now when Williams looks like he doesn't know what he's doing, it makes me feel very good about Luke Weaver and his little teeny tiny baby contract.
Absolutely. Give that man some money, and give him the spot that he does good in any spot. But you know what? Let's look at what's happening and let's recalculate, because he is our closer. And that puts us right into the who's not spot. And let me just tell you something. My number one, and I'd be glad if this is the only one I mentioned, is Devin Williams, period. Period, with a T at the end.
Oh my God.
So an ERA of what, 32.44444. And at least, my complaint last week, other than the obvious, was, what a bad look with your way with the press. A slight move in the right direction, because his quote after the disaster the other night was, at least there was, he said nothing's working right now. Okay, so he's stating the obvious, but he stated it. Yeah, that, clearly nothing's working right now. I wish there was an easy answer. I'm really not sure. It's not a good feeling not to be able to get the job done for the team. They put us in a great position to win there, and I couldn't get it done today. So like, I think what I mentioned last week came to be, and Judge pulled that man aside and said, yo, when you're talking to the media, you got to pony up, my guy. Because there was at least, some form of that. But that does not take away from what we saw the other night, Sierra.
Yeah, so it's very frustrating, and it makes you think back to the trade, right? There was some talk back when he got traded that Williams didn't necessarily want to be a Yankee, and he didn't show the excitement that a guy like Fernando Cruz had showed when he was traded to us. When it comes to Williams, I think the most frustrating thing about this is you're talking about an NL Rookie of the Year, NL two-time reliever of the year, and you have Mets fans running around saying that Pete Alonso broke Devin Williams. And you know what? They might be right. I mean, I don't think it's all Pete Alonso, but like, he looks like he's never thrown a baseball a day in his life. He looks lost. And this goes back to what I said earlier in the show, when our offense gives us the lead, our bullpen doesn't pick us up, and vice versa. We were up 2-1 Friday, and he blew it. We ended up losing 4-2, and that shouldn't happen. Now, here is where I have a bone to pick with Boone or the front office, and Lori kind of hit on this already in the comments. So yesterday, news broke. So Emmanuel Clase over in Cleveland, everyone knows Emmanuel Clase. He's been one of the best closers in baseball in recent years. Our friend Li constantly talks about him and how he wants him to be a Yankee. He's started off the season very poorly, just like Devin Williams. Actually, probably not as bad as Devin Williams. They are taking Clase out of high leverage situations, and he is no longer closing at this point. If you look back at us when we played them, we didn't face Clase, right?
Yep.
Now, I've gone back and forth on this, and if you asked me last week, I would have been against it. But at this point, after this most recent blown save, I think it's time for the Yankees to do the same thing. Weaver is clearly our best reliever, right? He's proven that he can handle high leverage. He did it last year in the playoffs. He did it in the World Series. And newsflash, I don't know if Aaron Boone and the front office weren't there, but Luke Weaver was one of the guys that actually showed up for us in the playoffs, who was consistent and didn't blow anything. So to Lori's point in the chat, yeah, why can't the Yankees do what Cleveland is doing with Clase? Flip-flop the role. It's Williams is in a contract year, and he's not earning anything right now.
No, and Lori had a point earlier. You just mentioned it as well, and Give him a chance. Move him. Just move him. Put him. Make him not the closer. Put him in. Put him in where you might typically put in Leiter Jr. Or even lower than that. Give him a chance to get it right, because he has to figure stuff out. I don't know what they're trying with him, but it's not working, and we're definitely not getting. The airbender is lost in the wind somewhere. I have no idea. I can count on one hand when I've seen it in action. So is there an injury that hasn't called itself out yet, or has been hidden? Lord knows we have a history with that, but and Mike saying Aaron Boone is an idiot like my manager. Okay, well, we're in agreement with that. And FJ is saying Williams is in his 7th major league season. There's no reason for Williams to act like a withering flower. Right. Like, I think FJ, that's backing up our point. Like, man up, own up, and figure it out.
You know what's crazy is, remember when Clay Holmes was closing games?
Yep, I do.
I feel worse about Williams closing games right now than I did about Clay Holmes. And I know we let Clay Holmes go on a lot further before we pulled him back, but like that just kind of further drives home the point. We let Clay Holmes blow how many games before we pulled him out of that situation? Clearly, we watched his confidence. Like, it was shook. It's got to be the same with Devin Williams at this point. And I understand that he is a veteran. And I just mentioned 2-time reliever of the year and now rookie of the year, but something's got to give right now. We can't be blowing these early games, because I'm going to keep saying it. These early games are going to come back and bite us in the ass when it comes to making the playoffs if we don't figure it out.
Yep, it puts us in a deficit. And you know what else this is costing us besides all of that? We have a skeleton rotation, and our bullpen needs to sort of be both the starters and the bullpen at this point, in the way that they perform, because we are using them a lot, and we need every one of them, regardless if you're a closer, if you're the mid-inning guy, or in between. We need everybody 100% on point. And Williams just sticks out like a sore thumb. Now, again, I put some of that back on the expectations that that we had when he came here, because of what he came here with. And he's certainly not the first guy to put the pinstripes on and freeze. And maybe we're having some of that here. He just might not be cut out for this team. And
I say we make him shave his beard, and he has to earn it back. We changed that damn policy. And I love that we changed the policy. But there was all that freaking talk about it being Devin Williams, and that's why he wasn't happy to be traded here. He needs to shave it off, and he needs to earn it back. Because right now, he has not earned the right to have facial hair.
Seriously, like, let's put him in an interrogation room with a light shining on him, and somebody yelling over and over again, "We changed our facial hair policy for you. What are you doing?" And hey, Jared, good to see you. I saw you join a while ago. Good to have you with us. Yeah, so Devin Williams was basically the answer to the question on the slide, the thumbnail for YouTube. He is just not. He has no place anywhere as far as I'm concerned. I rather call up someone, and have them come up and him go down at this point. And so, yes, and that's silly and I kid-ish. But he is just in any spot, anyone that inspires confidence. And Jared wants to make it clear.
It's amazing.
They're not related. And Jared, darn well if he was, we'd still be saying it. But yes, we acknowledge that you have no relationship whatsoever to Devin Williams. All right, so I guess we've gotten the Devin Williams out of our spirit. So go ahead. You teased us about something from the hot that you're going to mention in the not.
I'm going to just continue on my rant about Aaron Boone and the front office, because, whatever they're doing with Devin Williams in the bullpen, they're starting to really, really irritate my soul with what they're doing with Jason Dominguez. You're telling me that we've heard about this kid since he was 16 years old. He's finally here. You know, he took a few weeks to figure it out, but he has figured it out. Okay. This kid is getting on base. He's hitting the ball. He's taking the walks. He's playing good defense. And that was our biggest concern.
Yeah.
Yet we're not playing him. We are not riding the hot hand. However, we have 3-4-ish guys right now who look lost at the plate. And I'm talking about Jazz Chisholm, Anthony Volpe, Cody Bellinger, and freaking Austin Wells, right? But we let them play every game, right? We don't care that Volpe's striking out 4 times a game. We don't care that Jazz is he's so lost that he's arguing with umpires. We don't care that Austin Wells can't throw out a runner or hit his way out of a paper bag. We don't care that Cody Bellinger doesn't look like he knows how to hit a freaking baseball at the major league level. But Jason Dominguez, who is doing all of the right things, is sitting on the bench. I need Aaron Boone to explain that to me like I am in kindergarten.
Well, that should be easy for him since he thinks like he's in kindergarten. But let me just tag on to that to really put a punctuation mark there is that Jazz and Belly are below the friggin' Mendoza line, okay? Volpe is flirting with it like, ooh, do I hop over or do I not? I'm not sure with his 202 average. And Wells has 9 toes over the Mendoza line because he is exactly as of Friday, after Friday's game at 200. So this isn't just us saying, oh, you know, we're just frustrated with the slumps they're in. This is not what we thought we were getting with any of these people. And we've been shouting out Volpe for all the wrong reasons for quite a while now. Did I ever think that I'd be using Mendoza line in the same sentence when it comes to Volpe, let alone Belly? You know, and Wells, our runner-up for Rookie of the Year, for crying out loud. Mike said earlier, you know, you got to look at your pitching coach when it comes to Williams, and I have all the faith in Matt Blake. But yeah, I mean, what is Ralston doing with these guys?
Sure. Him, and you know what? Friggin' fire Luis Rojas while we're at it, because if he sends one more runner that shouldn't be sent, like, I'm going to lose my mind. I don't know how this guy still has a job, but like, I'm not even frustrated with the slumps. Slumps happen. If it continues, I'll be frustrated with the slumps, but they happen. I'm frustrated with the decision making because why are we not riding the hot hand, right? Like, there's no reason we can't work Dominguez into the lineup and give somebody else a day off. Like, I'm sorry. I'm a huge fan of Cody Bellinger. He is a veteran. He did have an MVP season. He has great defense.
Yeah.
But when he's not hitting the ball, you can take a day and sit his ass on the bench. Or, I'm sorry, we called up Jorbit Vivas for the second time because, you know, Trent Grisham went and had a baby. Congrats to Trent, by the way. But we called this kid up for the second time. And for the second time in 2 seasons, he sat on the bench, did not sniff an inning of baseball. Yet you had Pablo Reyes playing the outfield. When you could have just had Judge, Belly, Dominguez in the outfield and let Jorbit Vivas play second and give Volpe a day off because Volpe is struggling. Or have Dominguez play DH and put Wells on the bench because we haven't seen enough of Ascara to really know what he's about. That's where I'm frustrated because when they are slumping, there are ways to rotate this lineup and give somebody a day off that clearly desperately needs it.
100%. And in all fairness, since you mentioned Grisham, I meant to mention him as hot. He belongs. He deserved the shout out for that. Even with going on before he went on pat leave, he's been just a 2-sided player that we want to see. And, you know, so this loaded outfield, they got to figure it out because of course they're playing Grisham because he's been so hot. Mm-hmm. You know, but at the same time, we have to get some reps out there for Belly to figure this out because we know it's in him. But give everybody the numbers on Volpe before we cose out the knot here.
Let me grab them. Hold on one second.
Yeah.
These numbers. Okay.
Yeah.
Anthony Volpe, despite finally getting a hit on Friday, he is 6 for his last 43 with 18 strikeouts. Okay? So I know everybody lost their freaking minds at the beginning of the season. By everyone, I do not mean Yankees fans. I mean like non-Yankees fans who were so upset that Anthony Volpe was hitting home runs because of this stupid bat. Okay? Well, guess what? He's now 6 for his last 43. So clearly the bat didn't do anything, right? He still has to make contact, right? Or it doesn't matter. So Volpe, he looks so lost. And I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate and flip-flop to the other side of the argument real quick. He's playing to the back of his baseball card. He's never been touted as a power hitter. He was always a defensive first shortstop. However, I blame the Yankees with the way that they shoved him down our throats and the way that they advertised this kid for what we're expecting out of him. I don't think he was ever going to be a power hitter or be a 300 average hitter. So at this point, I don't know what to expect from Anthony Volpe at the plate. But right now, he looks like he's seeing ghosts as the baseballs are flying by him.
Yeah. Yep, that's exactly what Raziel just said. Is that he looks lost and it's weird to see him. And Lori is saying that mom needs to stock up the freezer with the chicken parm. I'm not even sure about that. I'm wondering if she changed the brand of breadcrumbs she's using or something like that. And it's just, sorry, Sierra. And so the chicken parm isn't even it anymore. Mama Volpe. If you did anything, if you changed the marinara, if you went from Progresso to the store brands of the breadcrumbs, put it all back and feed it to your child, please. Because that was the magic stuff right there for a long time.
Or I think what he needs to do is he needs to look at Ben Rice, who, so Ben Rice came up last season. He was like lightning in a bottle, as you like to say, Lynn, right? And then he wasn't. The league adjusted to him. But you know what Ben Rice did in the offseason? Ben Rice put on 15 pounds of muscle and he adjusted to the league.
Yes.
Volpe has put on a little muscle, but he has not found his way of adjusting. So he needs to talk to Ben Rice and have Ben Rice show him the ways. Or he needs to go talk to Stanton, our real captain, and have him show him how to hit a ball.
Yeah. All of those things. There's no doubt about it. And Raziel's asking a question here that we should take a look at. Is anyone noticing that the same underlying issues from last year haven't actually been addressed? Approach at the bat, infield fundamentals, and honoring contracts over production.
You know what's funny, Raziel, is every time I see an infield error, I say, "Oh, I thought that got fixed when Gleyber Torres was no longer on the team."
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that runners were going to get thrown out now that Jose Trevino is not on the team. But you're 100% correct. It is not all on the players. Our management staff, our coaching staff has never addressed these issues, and we've seen it year in and year out. We can't run the bases. We can't field the baseball. We don't change our approach to hitting when we're struggling. And we have pitchers who have full-on temper tantrums on the mound when they're struggling. So there's more internal issues that need to be addressed, but it is extremely frustrating to watch. And you know what? We get to look forward to it for a few more years because guess what, guys? At the beginning of the season, when all of our team was injured, they extended Aaron Boone. So,
yes, he's here to stay. And yeah, so before we go on to the next segment we're used to, I forgot to insert a new a previous segment we used to do, which is goodbye and hello, because we've had some transactions this past week that I want to mention. So we know that Gomez got DFA'd. You know what? I thought he was going to play out for us fairly well, but DFA'd and guess what? Now we'll see him against the Dodgers.
Because why wouldn't they pick him up?
Exactly. I was so surprised by the DFA. This is the move you make when there's a huge list of things that you should be thinking about. Yeah, so let's remember that move when we get to the postseason, and I am saying when. And let's talk about Vivas. So Vivas is another one. I didn't check his options count at this point, but you know, brought up, did nothing when he was up here, wasn't used, brought back down. And so he's the next candidate on the merry-go-round of options, and he's going to be spent before we even give him the opportunity to figure things out and contribute. Clearly, he made the roster because we felt he had something in him, but we never get to see it. What's up with that?
Listen, this goes back to my rant 10 minutes ago. It's extremely frustrating. We did this last season where we brought him up for a weekend. He sat on the bench, whatever. We brought him up this season because Grisham had a baby. We could have used him, but instead we played Pablo freaking Reyes, who hasn't done a damn thing. And I'm sorry. I just think that if you're going to play Reyes, you might as well play Jorbit Vivas. You can't tell me that Reyes is any better than Vivas at this point in his career. What was the point of bringing him up? You could have brought up somebody that you're actually going to use, not someone who was just going to warm the bench.
Yep. So these are all open-ended questions that we'll never quite get the answer to. Raziel, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Thank you for the shout out. We're so grateful to you and to the first ladies of Pinstripe Chronicles. I love that. I'll plant you a rose garden as first lady, Raziel. Thank you so much for that. And so the one thing that happened that was a decision I think we're all fine with is that they signed Tyler Matzek to an MLB contract. And so he's locked in and selected to the 40-man. So, good thinking there. Good looking alive there on that one. But I just wanted to mention those before we get to this. So, so look, we got the usual laundry list but some updates, right? So DJ, is rehabbing down in Somerset. So he went 3 for 3 during the week in Somerset. In another game, he went 2 for 3 with 2 singles, a run, and an RBI. That was Friday night. So all right, looking good. Are we saying that this is DJ 3.0? No, we're not. Nobody's making that wager.
I have a hot take when it comes to DJ LeMahieu.
Go for it.
So I've been saying, all off season and whatever, to just take him out back and shoot him. But I'm at this point where, listen, and no fault to Peraza, he has not done anything for us. And Cabrera, if you look back last season, he did the same thing he's doing now. So long term, every day is not sustainable for him. Love you, Oswaldo, but that's just the truth. If DJ LeMahieu can bring what he's doing to in the minors to the majors and stay healthy, I would take that production from DJ LaRoba at this point. Because also we need that glove in the outfield, right? Like with all the mistakes happening, DJ has always been solid no matter where you put him in the infield. So DJ, I am putting my faith in you. Please do not let me down, because if it comes back to bite me in the ass, I'm going to be kind of upset. But I am co-signing DJ LeMahieu back to the major leagues at third base right now, because I don't know what other options we have.
And Raziel saying that he's better than Peraza. When in good shape, when true to form he is. He's got the Gold Gloves to prove it. But so let's talk to our guy Stanton now. So the news on him is that he began hitting on field batting practice. So we got to shout out the baby steps, right? So but still a TBD on when he would start rehab games. So that they're going to be, and I agree with, they're going to be cautious with him and give him the time. And we all know that where we need him most is much later in the season anyway. Well, that's as long as more players don't do what some of our reliables have been doing lately. we might be saying, "Oh, figure it out, Stanton. We need you sooner." So listen, Stroman. We had our theories about Stroman, right? Oh, that was convenient. Now he has a little injury on his hands, has to go on
Real
the
hurt.
IL. um, but and he had gotten a cortisone shot back in middle of April. But now he's still feeling some things as of 4/21. Well, listen, we could go into what feeling some things means, but um, now I'm back into controversial mode. I don't even know what that means, but it's typical of what, like, if there's one that says it, I don't know, but feeling some things.
Do you remember the day before spring training started and Boone in a press conference said all of the physicals have come back healthy. Everything looks good. And then the next day they started falling like flies. So who the hell knows what feeling some things means? He might be feeling like he's a fifth starter, but he's not at this moment. He might be feeling like his feelings are hurt. But guess what? As someone who has stood up for Stroman like more than anybody, he needs to get his act together before he's back on that baseball mound. Because one inning as a veteran pitcher, if you're not like truly injured, is not acceptable. So if it's a true injury, which who freaking knows at this point, then fine. I apologize for being inconsiderate. But if this is a injury, then when Stroman does come back, he needs to have a better attitude and have his act together.
Yep. And so maybe Stroman and Williams need to like link up and buddy up and figure their mutual stuff together.
They say a shimmy a day keeps the sadness away, so they need to get together and have a dance party. That's all I'm saying.
Shimmy a day. I love it. Okay. So Jay Cousins, he tossed the bullpen on this week, and he's still on. He's eligible as of the end of May. He's quoted as saying that he's thinking that he'll be back around June. So we'll see what's going on with Cousin, but some progress there. Beater progress there. Started rehab in Somerset during the week. Johnny Lowe threw a live bullpen during the week that was 2 days actually, and his rehab began on Friday. So don't know how that went, but he's rehabbing, and that means he's getting closer, and I'm all good with that. Now Luis Heel, a little step back, it seems. Luis Heel, his throwing program was pushed back. And it was supposed to be April 16th, and now allegedly it was to start on Friday. So
his injury is so frustrating to me because I think the Yankees pushed him too far last season. He was coming off an injury. There was a rumor that he was on oh my God, I cannot talk now. He was on an innings limit count, whatever, and they did not stick to that. They said it was a false rumor, blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? He should have been, in my opinion. Did he win AL Rookie of the Year? Yeah, congratulations. But now he's injured. Now he's not able to play baseball, and I'm sure he would rather be contributing to the team right now than have a plaque that's not going to mean anything in 10 years, right? Like it's a cool award, but if it gave him lifelong injury issues, then was it really worth it?
Right, which goes to our ever going topic about everybody with the high velo releases all the time, and what it does to you from as young as somebody like Heel. And so it's a catch-22. I get it in terms of expectations in MLB, but you're exactly 100% right there, Ciara. And now let's talk about Scott Ellsbury Efros.
Who?
Exactly. I've never seen Ellsbury and Efros in the same place. So Efros is still on a TBD because of a setback. Do I know what that means? No. So he's had a setback, yet he's still doing his throwing program. But absolutely no news on Efros. And of course, we know Colin Hampton. It's like, see you next year, guys. So that's it for the IL.
That's it.
report.
Like that wasn't like a freaking diary page entry.
Yeah, it's a long list of nothing. And so we'll see. Look, I'm open to DJ too. We want to. I'd be so happy to see who we acquired. And I'd love to see him make a resurgence that is so long overdue. CT's agreeing. He doesn't even think Efros is a real person.
I don't either, CT. I think he's some made up character that's preventing us from adding somebody to our roster.
Yeah, I feel like what I want to do is look up his baseball card and do a reverse image on it and make sure that
It's
that's
not AI.
Yeah, probably AI. Exactly. All right. So in terms of what's
Ooh.
next for this team, ooh,
Maybe
wait.
Aaron Boone was listening to us today.
Oh, I knew it. I knew it all along. Okay. So that's awesome news. Sierra does not take away one thing she said about you, Boone, by the way.
I don't.
Um
But you
I
can have a cupcake for this one.
Yeah, we'll give you like, one of those mini cupcakes that, you give at the pre-K party. So I wonder if he went further than that, Lori, and stated the obvious, but that would be giving us too much, I suppose. So let's look at this week ahead. But starting with today, obviously we got a doubleheader for absolutely no reason because yesterday could have happened. And by the way, why did no one mention, including myself here, mention Freed on the hot list?
Because he didn't pitch this week, technically. That's the only reason I didn't mention him.
Oh, okay.
But
All right.
Freed is sizzling.
Absolutely hot. So it's Gaussman versus Freed. He looked at the numbers and this really, I'm not going to say it out loud, but it should be fine. It should be a good matchup.
I'm going to knock on wood.
Yeah. And then game 2 is Bassett versus Schmidt. So, and then let's look at the week ahead real fast. Let's look at what we're dealing with here. So to Ciara's point, if we don't take these 2 series, 3 games against the O's and 2 games against the Rays, we don't want a repeat of the Rays clowning us like that. First of all, so I don't even know what I'll be next Sunday if we don't take these 2 series.
Not to mention, we don't even see Boston until June. Like this is the time to put some space between us and who was possibly going to be then the thorn in our side for the remainder of the second half of the season. Because I've been saying it since day one. Boston is a good team, and this year they are going to be the thorn in our side. So we need to put some space between us, and also between these teams. I typically don't worry about the Rays and the Jays, let's be honest, but they are a division rival. So we do need to take these games. Baltimore, regardless of how they look right now, they are a good baseball team and they will continue to be so. So take advantage now and win these games.
And Lou wants us steady for May. So we're going to have a tough May. I think April was tougher than we expected it to be, which has me really concerned about May and saying that, Lou. I agree with you, and it begins with the fact that we got to get some distance between the Red Sox, like Ciara said, and Ciara laid this down preseason that the dawn of the new rivalry is here, and so. Look, let's not make it an easy cake for them to bake, everybody. And absolutely, Jared, absolutely right there. It's always tough schedule for the Yankees. May is, and when you say that, doesn't it make you look back on April and say, you could have done so much more. So
and not to mention, it concerns me because last year it was June when we really saw a slump from the entire team. I mean, part of that has to do with Stanton going down, but June was a bad month in 2024. And if we have a good May in 2025, it won't concern me as much.
Okay, so let's all say a prayer on May Day that we're not going to be yelling May Day. And so and Raziel, great point, something to hang our hat on a little bit. Baltimore's in a little bit of a rough patch, so we got to take advantage of that. Let's see if we do. So, all right, we're wrapping up with the answer to Spencer's trivia question of the week. So 30 years ago, during the last game of the 1995 regular season, the Yankees faced the Blue Jays to vie what would be the first AL wildcard. The Yankees won that game, advancing to the postseason. Who was the Yankee who got the final out? And I am going to tell you that we have some history buffs in the chat. And so here's the answer for you.
I wasn't even close.
Pat Kelly. Pat Kelly played second base that game and tagged the base for a fielder's choice forced out. So put yourselves out there. Give yourselves a shout out in the chat, because I don't want to like miss anybody. But I know Lori got it right. Karen got it right. And Raziel's like,
same.
Okay, you know what? I'm writing a detention slip for Raziel and Jared. You got to come to our next episode of History and Heroes, and we are going to get you squared away so that you can start acing these quizzes.
My millennial brain automatically went to Derek Jeter. So
yeah, I mean, yeah. Why wouldn't it? 1995, he was around. You know, there was also Mike Stanley, who nobody guessed that, you know, would have been a fair guess as well. So good job. And yeah, so all the flowers to the ones that got it right. Laura, you're so gracious in saying that Karen, and you know, so thank you for shouting out Karen is getting it first. She, you know, she's quick with hitting the buzzer. She really should be on Jeopardy or something like that, because she's good with that. Comes right out with it. So there we go, Pat Kelly. And so thanks for tuning in, everybody. We're so grateful that you're here with us every week. So don't forget to hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already. Tell your friends. Bring them along next week. And as always, you have the guys 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And you know what? One thing is for sure, you have a reserved seat with Ciara and me on the upper deck. So see you next Sunday, and go Yankees!